Well, hello again to all of y'all. We have a bit of a sequel here to my Catalan Cava Country video. And this will be a part two where we will be going around the same region. So we are down the coast here from Barcelona. And really, I've made a rod for my own back here, as they say, because there's just so much to take in on this route, and even a few places which were sort of a bit more spontaneous, weren't on my original itinerary, but I just sort of spotted on the way round. So we're going around the Penedes again and taking in just a lot of rich cultural history here, a lot of sites, both ancient and modern. So taking in thousands of years of history here, and going around, of course, the wine region of the Penedes. So we'll be peaking up here in Villafranca, which is really the capital of the region. And just an embarrassment of riches, really. So taking this route up, we've got a castle here in Santa Oliva. We've got some really nice, interesting buildings here in Bañeres del Penedès. The village of Larbos here, which again is very rich in terms of architecture and buildings. Once again to the Castel de Castellet. Now, in the last video, I didn't make it up there. So I kind of skipped the filming, but this time I did. So we'll get a good look around the castle there. And then on up to Villafranca, we'll have a good look around here, some of the old medieval buildings. And what for me I think is the highlight is coming down here to the Castel de Dollerdola. I've been practicing that one. And again, I mean, there's human habitation up here going back to the Bronze Age and a fine looking castle and some great views as well up in the hills here coming into the coastal range. And then we're following the C15, which is again quite an ancient route from Villafranca down to Vilanova. We've got another castle here in Canyelles. And then finally, our final castle here in San Pedro de Ribas. So, really a lot to see there, and it took me quite a lot of time to research this, but so rich, this area in cultural heritage. An absolute pleasure. And then I carried on and finished back where I started in Coma Ruga. But you can just as easily finish in Vilanova or Sitges and jump on a train from there, or stay the night if you like, of course. So this was my actual route with all the sort of wrong turns. I made a few wrong turns here as well. So if you follow this route, keep that in mind that it's basically warts and all, but a really lovely route. So I do hope you enjoy the video. So we will come to that now. Okay, so lovely sunny morning, and we're heading out from Coma Ruga through some of these vineyards up towards El Vendrell, which is the town that sits on the pass between the coastal range and the Bonastre Hills. And you can see we've got some olive groves here as well. This was a Friday morning, so the roads were fairly busy. I mean, busy in terms of this part of Catalonia, which is not so much compared to the big cities. So coming into El Vendrell here, we're going to see a lot of cycle paths today, and there is one here you can take, which will take us where we want to go, and just going past the railway station here. And then swinging a left here rather than going straight on and getting on the N340, which does go up into the Penedes, but it's a road I generally like to avoid because it's kind of busy. It's actually the old Via Augusta, which is the old Roman road that went from Barcelona down to Tarragona and beyond down onto Valencia. But we'll be heading out on this road, and on the right there got first nice building of the day, this kind of nice modernist building there. So hanging a right here to bring us into Santa Oliva, where we'll see our first interesting sight of the day. And as I'm so important in these parts, I actually got a police escort all the way up to the castle. And here it comes, coming up now. This castle dates from about 1045, reiterating again that about 1,000 years ago this really was a very militarised area and really the front line between Moorish Spain and the Catalan counties to the north. So castle is next to a church as well, so that's well worth a look. And we come out here onto some of these country lanes. It had rained recently, so some of these are a bit mucky, but still perfectly rideable in my opinion. Always nice to see a few other riders on the road, especially when you're riding alone, so you can get a bit lonely. It's a lovely looking bike this guy's on here. Gets a little bit mucky again here, and I had just cleaned the bike before this, so a little bit distressing, but only because I'm a bit lazy with the cleaning. I mean, cleaning every week I find a little bit of a chore, which is why I switched from mountain biking to road biking in the first place. Well, that and the fact I kept going over the handlebars, as I was never really an expert on a mountain bike. So this wasn't on my original itinerary, and we're heading up now towards Bañeres del Penedes, but I sort of spotted it on the way round and remembered I'd been there before, and there's a couple of interesting sights here. So we start with this very nice looking church here, which is Santa Eulalia de Bañeres, which dates back to 1684. Built on the site of an older church, but yeah, that's very, very pretty in the morning sunshine. Okay, we've got this plaque here in Catalan. You can translate that yourself if you like. Answers on a postcard, but no using ChatGPT. Coming up here is the Calventosa, which was built I think around 1920 and just has this kind of deco sort of design to it. Seems to be abandoned at the moment, but I couldn't really be sure. And we also have the Castel de Bañeres up on the hill there, which dates to 10th century AD. There was a lot of steps going up there, and I really couldn't be bothered to walk up there in my socks, so we don't get a closer look at that, I'm afraid. And then I met this pretty young lady here. And you can fill up your bottles from this rather attractive looking fountain here. And there's another look at the church there, glowing in the sun. And what a lovely morning as we head on to Lardboss, which is our next stop. And we start here with the Hospital de Sant Antoni, which is a modernist building dating from the early 20th century. Architect Eugeni Campiot Pares, who's known as one of the forgotten architects of Catalonia, now used as an old people's home, among other municipal services. And next, the Palau Generi Batet, which is named after the man who had it built, one of those who made his fortune in Cuba and then came back and had this fine-looking house built, neoclassic, built in 1873, and subsequently became used as a school. And then coming around here, we've got the Torre de Belescard, which dates from, I believe, 1898, which is a fine-looking building, but for me, not as good as the one just down the road, which you'll see in a second. So what we've got coming up here is a copy of several buildings from Andalusia. We've got La Giralda de Lardboss, which is a copy of La Giralda in Seville, and also the Pati des Lleons from the Alhambra. So this was built by Joan Roca y Marí, who was a native of Lardboss, and he went to Andalusia on his honeymoon and was so taken with the architecture he decided to have this built here. And we can have a little peep over the wall at this. I mean, it's really stunning buildings here. I think you probably need to book in advance, but you can go and have a look around there for a tenner, as I understand it. And as we come up to the church, we've got this fine-looking building on the right there. There's just so much in Lardboss, it's so hard to fit in all the information, so do your own research on that one if you wish. And here we have the Iglesia de San Julia, which was built in the 17th century, and we've got some fine stonework here as we look along the frontage of it here. And again, as with many churches in Catalonia, a lot of the interior was destroyed during the Civil War, when there was really kind of reaction against the Catholic Church, but still very well preserved as a building. And there it is again, and we can take a roll down the main street here, and we've got some really fine looking buildings down here as well. These kind of these sort of modernist buildings, the like of which you see quite a lot of in Barcelona as well. And there, Christopher Columbus on the top there. You'll see the same statue in Barcelona if you go down to Drassanes. And once again, as in the first video, we take a visit to the Castel de Castellet, but this time we'll have a good look round because I had plenty of time to go. So just to say again, this castle dates from the 10th century, where this was really a militarised zone. I mean, I've talked about this quite a lot, but it is an absolutely fine looking edifice. So you can come around here and nip up this way. And here it is in all its glory, and very glorious it is in the sunshine here. And it overlooks the lake here, created by the dam over the River Foix. And behind it we have this 12th century chapel of San Pere de Castellet. So that's another site you can take in here. And a nice view of the castle from this side as well. What a treat. So on we go to our next stop, the big smoke in these parts, Vilafranca. Now what you might hear there it is the knife sharpener. We still have a few of these round here, and they play that little that whistle out their vans. Just rolling into Vilafranca now. So Vilafranca's a real medieval town that's founded in the mid-12th century and has a population of about 42,000. And you can see we've got this big square here where they do have street markets. So in this plaza we've got the Capella de San Juan. Another fine-looking church here that was fairly recently restored in 1929. And on the other side of the plaza here we've got this the town hall, again a really fine-looking building here. I would guess that's probably late 19th century. And like many of the old medieval towns in Catalonia, you get this lovely colourful buildings. And it's quite literally a meat market in there. And here we got this big stone monolith. And coming up for me, I think the real highlights here, we've got the Basilica de Santa Maria, this 13th century church, and on the left the Palacio Baltar, which is the old royal palace where the kings of Aragon stayed, and Peter III actually died. So I believe the facade of the church here, or part of it, is a bit more recent, dated to 1903, where they added the towers and that fine looking rose windows. There's also a medieval chapel here, the Capella de San Pellegrini, which dates from the 14th century, and the Vinseum. You can probably work out what that's all about. Not a museum to Vin Diesel, in case you were wondering. And on we go, a little bit of climbing here. And here we're following the C15 through the coastal hill range here, which goes from Vilafranca down to Vilanova. And into the village of San Miquel de Olèrdola. And there's a nice little church you can have a look at here. But the main action is up on the hill. This is the Iglesia de San Miquel. as we see here, we have to sing for our supper. We've got a stiff little climb here, a couple of kilometres, and rather steep, as you can see, but it will be worth it, I promise you. So a bit of an archaeologist's dream up here. I mean, there's evidence of settlements going back to 2000 BC, well into the Bronze Age. There's Iron Age settlements here as well. The Romans built a fort up here. They actually built a cistern which could hold 350,000 litres of water. And there's a 10th century church, medieval houses, all sorts up here. And also there is a museum to visit. So this was open here. On the bike, a bit limited. I mean, if you want to sort of take your cycling shoes off, you could have a little bit of a walk around more extensively. But a bit of a sort of cursory glance here. If you want to have a really good walk around, I'd recommend bringing a bag with some walking shoes. But really fine building up here. Mostly what we see is the medieval castle. And that also dates from the 10th century, like many of the castles here, and dates back to that same militarised age about 1,000 years ago that I previously mentioned. So, well worth making the effort, and if it's a consolation, it's a lot easier going down than it is getting up here. As we descend, in the distance on the left there, you can make out Montserrat, which is also well worth a visit, and I will probably pop there in the spring and do a video, but I don't live as close to it as I used to, so a bit more of a mission these days. And we're coming up to another one of my bonus sites here. Again, this wasn't on the original itinerary, but I did notice it on the way around. And this is the Castillo de Canyelles, which dates from the 15th century. Built on an old defensive tower from the 10th century and restored in the 19th century. And we also have the Iglesia Santa Magdalena. So this really was, it's kind of defended this route from Villafranca through the hills down to the coast. So it adds a little bit more climbing. I think it possibly looks better from a distance, which we'll see a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, if you got the time, it's worth a little detour. And then we cross over the motorway and continue, and here you do get a view of it from a distance, as I mentioned before. So this is a nice road here, going through these rolling hills here, with of course the inevitable vineyards. Final point of interest of the day is San Pere de Ribas and the Castel de Ribas here, which also dates from the late 10th century. So this changed hands several times between feudal lords and the church, and also the municipal council, and also served as a dungeon in the Civil War apparently, and in the 1970s became the residence of the dancer José de Udaeta and became a popular meeting point for artists. So we get a closer look at the castle here with the circular tower, and as we swing around we'll also see the Iglesia Vella, the old church of San Pedro de Ribas, which also dates from the 10th century. It was destroyed by the Moors at one point around about then, and then a new church was built after that in the 11th century. And what a lovely looking building. Again, you get that kind of orange glow in the sunshine as you do. And we'll have a look at the new church as well. So this from the early 20th century. It's finished in about 1910. And yeah, this is quite a nice looking church as well. I think it's really nice how they pay tribute to the old architectural styles with the new buildings here. And again, we see rose window in these two towers, kind of similar to the church we saw in Villafranca. And now we'll head to Vilanova. I was really happy to find these cycle lanes here. I think these are really good. Just keeps you off the road there. Cycle lanes aren't always that usable, but you can take these kind of most of the way into town here. And of course you can finish in Vilanova. I completed the loop to Coma Ruga, so I stopped here for my usual egg sandwich. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. See you out on the road.